Be careful what you wish for, Parker.
Hello, Peter.
There's no perfect way to start what I'm about to say. In fact, my entire list of 700 plus videos, 2 years plus of fanfictions, every love letter, every video essay, every criticism, every praise, every word said about this character all boils down to this. This one video, this one movie, Spider-Man No Way Home isn't the best shot Spider-Man movie. Spider-Man No Way Home isn't the best written Spider-Man movie. Spider-Man No Way Home isn't the best paced or directed Spider-Man movie, but Spider-Man No Way Home is composed of elements that allow it to express its story in a way where every person watching this can feel. Whether you felt for Tom's loss, Toby's entrance, or Andrew's redemption, you felt. This movie had it all, for everyone. So when I say this is the endgame for Spider-Man, this really is the endgame for Spider-Man. Not in a sense that this will be the last Spider-Man thing to grace the earth or this channel, but the culmination, a love letter to everything that came before it. I said this movie wasn't the best Spider-Man movie, and I'd be lying if I said it were, but that doesn't mean that in any way I disliked it. In fact, I think it's the best out of the Watch trilogy. I think it's the best shot, written, and directed of all three of them.
Please, Scooby-Doo this crap.
And yeah, I still prefer Spider-Man 2, sue me, but this movie, in the moment, made me feel that warm buzz inside, just the way Spider-Man 2 did, and still does to this day. This movie brought back some of my favourite big screen characters of all time, and did them justice. What I think is more impressive than actually bringing every actor back for their respective roles is actually doing every single one of them justice, by having their characterizations be respectful to their previous on-screen appearances. Let's talk about the villains. Doc Ock, Green Goblin, Electro, Lizard, Sandman. They were fantastic. Doc Ock, although pulled through the multiverse before his eventual redemption in Spider-Man 2, Watts & Co. managed to rectify and even improve upon his arc in the second Raimi flick to enhance his character. Ock only has one moment of redemption in Spider-Man 2, but here they carry this on. He isn't a villain till the end of the movie, almost controlled like a pawn. No, he is the first one to be cured, and rightly so. His redemption in Spider-Man 2 could not go undone for this whole movie, and quite frankly, it would have been disrespectful to have it that way. This movie did Otto justice, just in the way that Norman frickin' Osborn is now my favorite MCU villain.
You know how much I sacrificed?
Yeah, you got Thanos, Vulture, but Raimi Norman Osborn is the definition of villainy. His power was threatened to be taken away from him in Spider-Man 1, so retaliated in the only way he could, through his goblin persona. And then in No Way Home, no Oscorp, no money, no mansion, no son. The only thing he has left is his power. And then when Peter tries to take that away from him too, he gets defensive. He will do everything with that power to make sure it isn't taken. Just like in Spider-Man 1, he feels threatened, and thus, Peter loses the person closest to him. He loses his support. I think that's freaking brilliant, and I wouldn't have wanted it any other way. I think the same can be applied to Electro as well, and nobody who has all the power in the world, and Peter tries to take it away. Sandman and Lizard both lost causes who just want to go home, and will pick whichever side to make that happen. Spider-Man No Way Home really annoys me because Aunt May's death was so good. And that may not make much sense to you, but one of my strongest criticisms of the previous two Watts movies is that Aunt May is so underutilized compared to her potential. This movie elevates her character to another level, however, it's too late. The damage is done, and her death is nowhere near as impactful as it could have been. That's no fault of No Way Home, but a fault of what came before, and I can't help but point that out. However, I don't think it's fair to say that the previous movies did nothing in making No Way Home what it was. The ending is by far the most impactful thing it could ever be, and it wouldn't be as it was without Homecoming and Far From Home, and I'll tell you why. But first, a quick word from our sponsor, NordVPN. No, I'm just kidding. Homecoming and Far From Home alike, although have some sense of consequence for Peter Parker, like Liz Allen leaving and Mysterio revealing his identity, they generally show Peter at his highest highs, like going on vacation or living a relatively carefree high school life. These highest of highs make the lows even lower. Homecoming and Far From Home show how Peter could have had it all, but when it goes wrong, he struggles to have everything he wants, while the world tries to make him choose between Peter Parker and Spider-Man. This makes the ending of No Way Home so much more impactful, knowing that this Peter had everything, the power, the girl, the mother, the mentors, to have it all stripped away from him. I am under the firm belief that if Homecoming and Far From Home ended with bigger everlasting consequences, No Way Home wouldn't have had the impact that it did. You can say that No Way Home fixed MCU Spider-Man. You can say that No Way Home was a reinvention of the character because of the criticism it got before, but it simply wasn't. No Way Home built Peter Parker's character. You have to have patience with this character, with this story, and it's something that I've been anticipating for years. Yes, there are things about the other movies that I don't like, but I understood the direction, the vision. Did I expect it to end the way it did? Hell no, not even close. But I knew going into this film, with the identity reveal, with everything that Peter loves on the line, that this movie would deliver something truly detrimental to the character and the story. And oh my god, it did. You're probably wondering, I talk about Tobey and Andrew so much on this channel, why hasn't there been a big section for them yet? Because yes, we had Tobey Maguire, my childhood Spider-Man return and reuniting with Doc Ock, the villain of my favourite movie of all time, and yes, we had Andrew Garfield, the first Spider-Man I ever saw in the theatres from TASM 1, that movie I truly have a soft spot for that not many other people do. But you know what? No Way Home made me feel. Not for Tobey, not for Andrew, but for Tom. It was great seeing them back, and the overwhelming sense of nostalgia and joy I felt was tear-jerkingly exciting, but they weren't anything compared to how Tom's Spider-Man was handled. Tom Holland's Spider-Man made me feel that same feeling I had for Tobey and Andrew's Peters when they lost everything too. No Way Home is everything Spider-Man should be and everything Spider-Man should feel like in every single mannerism, piece of dialogue, decision, emotion, all of it is Peter Parker. Speaking of Tobey and Andrew though, I am so glad they didn't reduce them to showing up for showing up's sakes, and they actually had something to do. By the way, I was dead right with this video, like holy hell I was right. I thought to myself this would be a perfect redemption arc for Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man character, and it was right in front of them. Did I think they'd actually do it? I don't know, but they frickin' did. They gave Andrew and Tobey's Peter Parkers the best treatment they could. They gave them the arcs and expansions of their already loved Spider-Men from the past. I never used to want TASM 3 after the shambles that was TASM 2, but after No Way Home, and the story that was put forth in front of me, I think I would just love one more Spider-Man movie starring Andrew Garfield, to see what happened when he stopped pulling his punches. But in the end, this movie isn't the greatest thing I've ever seen. Like I said, I still prefer Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2, but this movie made me feel more than I've ever felt before, and that's what makes this experience so special to me.